Hello, everyone, and welcome to the third module of our Quiz Mastery Foundation certification course. My name is Elvis Okanwa, and I'll be taking you through this course as well as the entire module. All right, now, in this module, we're going to be looking at how you can target the right type of traffic. I'm also going to be showing you 5 traffic sources that work really well with quizzes. And lastly, we're going to be looking at how you can build an evergreen traffic system for your quiz. And that way you're continuously generating leads from your quiz. All right. Now, in this lesson today, we're going to be looking at how you can target the right type of traffic using research targeting. And also, we're also going to be looking at why research targeting works so well with quizzes. All right. Now, if you don't even have an audience, or a list, or even a product to sell, if you're totally starting from scratch, and you don't know what you should write about, what your quiz should be about, what topics are my audience actually talking about, what problems are they facing, and so on. Now when you have a specific topic in mind that you're thinking about, now let's say, for example, adrenal fatigue. All right. Now, the first thing that you want to do is to go online and start joining online groups of people who are trying to solve that particular problem. Okay. So let's say adrenal fatigue is what I want to talk about. I jump to Facebook, for example. All right. I research adrenal fatigue. I also go to Google. I research adrenal fatigue. I go to LinkedIn. I go to Reddit. Now, in there, you get to find gold. You get to find what people are talking about. You get to find what they're writing about, what they're posting about, what they're sharing. And it's a great starting point. And the best part about this is that you don't need any kind of audience or experience to find these groups of people, and it's totally free of charge. All right. So there is gold in there by performing research targeting on the social media platforms. All right. Now we're going to go through each of them one after the other. So let's say adrenal fatigue. So we go on Facebook, and you search adrenal fatigue. Now you go to the group and you look for those groups that have the highest number of members, and you join them. All right. Now, most of these groups will require you to, request membership, but they usually respond within a couple of days. All right. Now, once you join this group or groups, what you're looking for are those conversations and threads that gets the most engagement. All right. So the ones that have the most responses, the ones that have, the kind of deepest, longest, most passionate comments, and that gives you an idea about who your target audience should be, and what you should write your quiz about. So, for example, if you take a look at this particular post, you can see it has 178 comments, and it's talking about chronic fatigue syndrome. And when I look at the comments in there, I can see that a lot of people are having this challenge and are talking about it. And when you dig a bit deeper, let's say using Google search, all right, you can see that a lot of people are talking about keto and how chronic fatigue syndrome is related, which is basically what keto or why keto is a hot topic right now for people in that field. All right, so you can use Google to refine your search. Now I can decide to take, based on the chronic fatigue syndrome, I can write the quiz about keto. So is keto right for you? Take this quiz to find out. All right. Now, next, like I said, you want to go to Google search. You type adrenal fatigue in there. You can use this to get more information about the topic. For example, like I said earlier on regarding keto, and in here I went to check Mayo Clinic on Google to see the symptoms of adrenal fatigue, and you can see this information that you get from Google. You can use that to kind of pick a quiz topic. So for example, I can write a topic, are you experiencing fatigue? Take this quiz to find out. Are you experiencing low blood pressure? Take this quiz to find out. Are you at risk of loss of body hair. Take this quiz to find out. So based on those symptoms, I can come up with quiz title because that will resonate with my target audience. All right. Now, next, you go to LinkedIn. All right, and you still perform the same search in there. LinkedIn is usually a great place for B2B groups. So if you're into professional services or coaching, you can use LinkedIn to kind of find groups of people in that particular niche talking about a particular subject matter or topic, and that way you're able to understand your target audience better. Right, so LinkedIn is great for B2B spaces. You can also use Reddit. All right, so you go to Reddit, you perform the same action, you type adrenal fatigue, and then remember what you're looking for in there is those conversations and threads that get the most engagement, the ones that have the most responses, the ones that have the kind of deepest, longest, most passionate comments, and that gives you an idea of what your target audience should of who your target audience should be rather, and what you should write about and what your quiz should be about. All right, so you go to Reddit, you type in adrenal fatigue, similar to the actions you performed on Facebook. You look for those thread comments that have the most impressions, and in there you can find a lot of information that you can use to create your quiz, or you can use to model your quiz after. So in here, you can see they're also talking about chronic fatigue syndrome, similar to what we saw on Facebook, and you can see we have 43 comments on this particular post. And that way you can go and read the comments, you get to understand the language of your audience, their pain points, what they're talking about, and you can use that to model your quiz. All right. So next, we're going to be looking at why research targeting works so well. All right. Now, it works so well because you can find those issues that your target audience are facing, and you can position your quiz to solve that particular issue. All right. So, for example, we found chronic fatigue syndrome is an issue in the health and fitness niche, and we were able to use that niche or find position our product to solve that particular issue. All right. So, creating a keto quiz, for example, related to chronic fatigue syndrome, if I was in the health and fitness space, that would be a very effective quiz to create. All right. Now, you can also use research targeting to find those keywords that your audience are using, and then you can use them in creating your quiz and ad copies. All right. And that way your audience understand that you're an expert in that field and you understand the language or the lingo that they're using in that space. Right. So for example, we saw that symptoms of adrenal fatigue, which include body ache, acne, and so on. So if using that in creating my quiz, my audience will understand that, okay, I understand the topic. Even using keto, keto is also a topic that, it's a word used in the fitness space that is also very, very popular. So using that, your audience will understand that, you understand the lingo of the market. Now, lastly, research targeting helps you know exactly where to research your audience when, your quiz is published, So where you should reach out to them when your quiz is published. Are they on LinkedIn? Are they on Facebook? And where do they most communicate? And that way, okay, I'm going to run Facebook ads. I'm going to advertise my quiz on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on my website, and so on. Right? Now, in the next lesson, I'm going to be showing you 5 research methods that work so well with quizzes. All right? So I'm going to show you 5 traffic sources, rather, that work so well with quizzes in the next lesson. Stay tuned. Bye-bye.